So your best friend has just started making music, and you'd offer to chip in by making a music video for him or her, and they accept. They say, yes, that is a brilliant idea. I really, really like the sound of that. So then you go and buy a really expensive camera for 200, 400 quid, but you don't need to. Let's be honest, you don't need to. This is a mobile phone. In fact, this is my old phone. My current phone is recording me now. I don't actually use a professional camera anymore. Phone cameras are extremely useful, and actually quite often they're better than most cameras that cost you up to 200 quid for music videos, for vlogging, for all sorts of things. So we're going to go through some basic tips for equipment, for what you need, how to do it on a budget, and how to make it look really, really good. And before we move on, I'd just like to ask you to subscribe. It's absolutely free. You can unsubscribe at any time. And I'd also like you to like this video if you did enjoy it, and if you didn't dislike it, put in the comments, why didn't you like it? I mean, I can only improve from here. Or maybe not. I don't know. I might not. So the first and foremost part to talk about is your phone. Most phones nowadays do 1080p recording off the rear end. I mean, I don't know any phone that doesn't. 1080p 30 frames per second is fine. Some people may ask whether you need to do 60 frames per second. That's entirely up to you. But just be aware the lower frames per second makes things look more realistic, but the higher frames per second glosses things over. So if you want it to look really kind of glossy, make it a higher amount. If you're looking for a more natural look or just a normal kind of look, just go for somewhere between 25 and 30, whatever your phone does. Usually phones are really, really good at kind of adapting their frame rate. So you just put it on 30. It's fine. It works. Now, some phones do a kind of a panoramic lens. My phone does a panoramic lens, and I can show you what that looks like. And in this video, I used a panoramic lens, and as you can see, it kind of centers the middle, and it kind of spreads things out. All the panoramic lens does is it takes a bit of a shot from further away. It uses just a lens to make everything seem a bit more spread out, which centers the middle. If your mobile phone does not have a panoramic lens, you can buy special lens kits. So this is part of a lens kit, and as you can see, you've got a lens there, and all I do is I screw that into there, and I can clip that onto the back of your phone, and there you go. With your normal lens, you have a panoramic lens all of a sudden. So do not fear if you do not have a panoramic lens. Sometimes this is an extremely useful thing, and this only costs like around £5. Now, some people may know or may not know what a gimbal is. Well, let me just explain for those of you who don't. A gimbal basically steadies your shots, so sometimes, when you're vlogging, when you're moving about, you'd like a camera that kind of stabilizes your shot and makes things just a little bit more smoother. For example, if you're walking down the street, the last thing you want is your camera going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. A gimbal will counteract that for you. Now, a lot of modern phones actually have an inbuilt gimbal inside of them. My current phone actually has that, which is brilliant. It means that you don't really have to go spending money on a gimbal. However, my previous phone did not actually have a gimbal at all on any of its cameras, and whatever you recorded was whatever you got. Now, I bought this for £70, which is actually kind of expensive if you're not planning on making any money on this. You're just doing this for a good old laugh. However, it was definitely worth it, I can say, and I still definitely use it. Something that is extremely useful about this is if you are going for an extremely smooth shot, and I'll show you one of Ted's music videos here. So the inbuilt gimbal in my camera plus the gimbal that I was using in my hands allowed for a smooth shot, and it looked like I wasn't even walking at all, and it looked like the camera was moving so smoothly. Another way of getting that smooth shot out of your phone is through a slow-mo, and this is something that phones can do and really excel at that sometimes you can't get on a camera. I used a £140 camera to do slow-mos at one point, and they looked awful. They were in, I swear, 360p or something. My phone does slow-mos really, really well, and I have taken them before, and they really, really work, and just putting them in your video really, really works. And that comes under the section of B-rolls, and for those of you who do not know what B-rolls are, they are effectively just videos that you can slip in at moments where you maybe don't have footage, or you want like a scene establisher, just footage that you can slide in here or there where you may not have the footage to cover that small 3 or 4 seconds of the music. Or you just want to slip it in and just spice it up a little bit. Some videos will have loads of B-rolls, just to really spice it up. Some videos won't actually have that many B-rolls. That is entirely up to you. But a slow-mo is a very good example of a B-roll, and something that you should definitely use. Whilst I'm on the topic of B-rolls, I should talk about investing in a tripod, and there are several reasons for investing on in a tripod, investing in a tripod. These tripods don't need to be like expensive or anything. I mean, Amazon Basics sell one for around 20 quid. I got mine off Argos. I actually got staff discount on top of that for around 20 quid. And honestly, it does a beauty. I mean, I'm currently using it right now, and this allows me to do all sorts of things. One of my previous famous shots before I bought a drone was to do what you call a fake drone shot, and that is where you would pick up your tripod and you would raise your camera to a very, very high height, or you would actually start from a low height and then raise it to a high height, and it would look like a drone shot. It would look like you are flying a drone and you're flying it away, and it really, really creates a good shot, and it's really, really good for people who do not have the money or the budget at all for a drone, because a decent drone will cost around £400, and that's £400 at the minimum. So those fake drone shots are really, really good for B-rolls. Of course, having a tripod is extremely useful for other uses, such as vlogging now, or in your music videos, which is a more relevant topic for this video. You can film pretty much anything on a tripod. I should warn you to be careful about that, however, because quite literally sitting your camera on a tripod might not be the best option. Having a still tripod shot might not actually justify the music that is playing behind the video. So you want something that's energetic, and you want to keep it energetic. Now, I did use a tripod, literally just sit a camera on a tripod in a recent music video for Flipboy TJF, and I'm actually going to put that in there, and it's basically where we change shots. And that's really, really good. That's really, really effective, and that's something I recommend you on using. Now, I want to take this moment to talk about different kind of shots that you can create, especially with a gimbal. I'm not putting it on this video, however, I am linking a video down in the description that I have already made, and hopefully it'll be on the cards. I think it's that corner. Please watch this video if you are interested in cool shots that look really, really good, and the fake drone shot is also in there right at the end, so be sure to watch that. And I've made a little like compilation. That was made about a year and a half ago, so you'll find that some of the lighting and the exposure settings are a little bit off. And that's another important part with filming, is that you should lock your exposure. For some phones, some phones are constantly, the exposure will change on your camera and stuff. Make sure you do lock that exposure. Sometimes holding down on the screen usually works. That's what I had to do with my old phone. I had to hold down on the screen to lock the exposure in such a way that it wouldn't go bright and then dark and bright and then dark, and then you're trying to solve it in the editing, which really you can't do. And I also want to take this small time to talk about a drone. If you do invest in a drone, it is extremely, extremely useful with like establishing shots. Once again, B-rolls, extremely, extremely important. However, drones are expensive, and unless you have a decent reason, or you planning on using it elsewhere as well, I wouldn't exactly go investing on a drone just yet. Make sure that your friend is definitely making plenty of music videos and it is worth the cause. That being said, drones are extremely useful and they really, really, really make the difference. I also want to talk about this camera here, and this is kind of just a special mention. These are kind of harder to do because you need an older camera. This camera is about 15 years old, so it's not as good as some old cameras, but if you have an old camera at home, actually this could be quite useful, because alongside your high quality 1080p shots that you're using, you could actually use this old camera to create some old style video shots things. I don't know. But I haven't actually used this currently in a music video. I have used this camera, and I'll show you some shots of some old style videos. And as you can see, it does look much, much older than for example, a phone camera. I mean, it's 15 years ago that this camera was made, and even then it was quite a budget camera. So you can really see the difference between using a modern phone camera and this camera, and it just gives a bit more of a retro look to it. And last but not least, you're probably wondering, if I'm going to record my friend, singing this song, rapping this song, whatever it is, how am I going to do that? Well, first of all, your person shouldn't be lip syncing. They should first of all be actually rapping or actually singing at the set, just because that makes things look much better. And second of all, you should be using a Bluetooth speaker. This is my Bluetooth speaker, and all I do is I'll be playing the song in the background from another device, so it usually be my friend's device. Play this in the background, and it's really good, because then this phone that I would be recording my music video off will pick up this sound, and then I can sync it up in the edit with the actual track, and of course mute the video audio. Video audio, that's a weird way of saying it. I should also point out that if you are looking at putting a phone on a tripod, you can do this through a gimbal, but I also do this through a little holder that I have. It's very simple, just a piece of metal that only costs around 10 quid. I'll actually put a link in the description to that. But that is absolutely everything aside from that. Yeah, be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you around, and thank you very much.